mobility. They had an intense amount of pick potential across all roles for their squad. So I'm very interested in their draft if they tend to go with the same line here.
But also momentum, because like these mobility comps, they can go both ways. If they don't snowball early with an early gank top, then the game looks much different as well there, because they were often playing in 45 scenarios.
This looks like an early Rumble pick here for TSM. This early Fizz ban is a little bit atypical, known as one of the counters to Rumble. And Hanser, if he's supposed to start carrying now, this looks like Rumble, and he can start taking over the game.
Right off the bat, though, VODs are available to everyone, Crepo, and the Ivern is banned out, which was, one of the crucial parts of that shielding comp.
Yeah, definitely. And it's also one of the jungles I actually liked Svenskeren on. What is he known for? Dying in an invade. Who invades much faster and much better than any other champion? Well, Ivern, and he also played it in the finals, I believe, and it was actually one of their better games versus C9.
Exactly. It's something that, TSM actually have used well. Jungling such a team, objective here, especially in the early game, and both of these teams have showed strengths and weaknesses, actually. One of WE's losses was to EDG due to a jungle invade early on. Regardless, though, again, we are going to have that Lulu, so maybe you will get your wish.
And interesting to seeing Lulu picked over Ashe here, because Karma is the obvious answer that almost every team does. But Mystic's most played is Ashe, and I know he has other backups as well, but we had seen so many other teams first pick that champion.
Yeah, the problem is, though, if you run into a team with Mystic as an AD carry who's a really good hyper carry player, they just pick Lulu and Karma, and suddenly you're struggling for late game.
Also, though, with WE, Karma has an extra value because they are so fond of playing her in the mid lane.
She is second most played, right behind, I think it was Syndra, I checked a second ago, but certainly, yes, they are very fond of playing double support, so you're right. With the context of how WE plays, I rescind my statement. Lulu makes way more sense.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. Same for TSM. They seem to favor Lulu quite a bit there as well.
Also, with Xie's Karma being so prevalent, we've seen it a lot with Condi playing, Lee Sin or Elise. And Karma, even early on, can spam Qs and try and push up a minion wave and try and get some of this jungle action going early. So, this looks like they may be going with a similar style and try and take it to Svenskeren.
See what happens now. I know that Sven is hovering Sejuani right now. Just keep in mind, everyone watching at home, this is still 7.8. There is no tank reworks on Sejuani, Zac, Maokai, and there's none of the new items as well. Looking like it's going to be maybe Ezreal for the bot lane pickup instead. That's locked in.
Wouldn't mind Orianna here from Bjergsen either, potentially. They do go for the jungle choice, so that goes down the drain here. But they get a comfortable jungle on Sven as well, because coming to the tournament, it was either Ivern or Lee.
Exactly. That is key, too, because the Lee Sin plus the Elise is not something that, all junglers have equal, right? These are two junglers that are very similar in their early power, but, I like the Lee Sin from Svenskeren so much more than his Elise.
Yeah, definitely so.
Both these players most played of the year, and we're going to see what actually comes in after this one. The Elise still going to be hovered, and might be the lock-in after all, and it will be a set of equal roles and somewhat similar champions across the roles.
Yeah, role parity right here, double support. That's also being able to be flexed here. So usually what we see is either an early tank pickup on the side of WE or counter pick for top lane. It depends what direction you want to go.
Now, of note, we haven't actually seen any Lulu out of Xia yet in the mid lane this year. Not that he can't play it. Of course, we've seen players start picking up that style, but it hasn't been something he's shown yet.
Well, he can't play it this game because Bjergsen would be the mid laner to take that one. And these are both flexible picks, right? Both of those supports could either go into the mid lane, as we already have seen, or down to the bottom. So that does, put a little bit of an extra pinch onto the second round bans here, and we're already seeing them go for the mid lane.
And if you want to keep that flex alive, I think if you're WE, you're looking to early pick your top laner, right? And then you last pick your support to see what's going on the side of TSM. Then you need to figure out earlier what you're going to reveal.
As soon as you started talking about top lane, I was like, oh, Kled, yes, 957, and instantly finds himself on the ban phase.
Yeah, and that is usually where it is banned against him, though. It's very rare for him to pick it in the first 3 picks. Everyone's like, oh, you gave 957 Kled, what are you doing? Don't you watch the LPL? It's like, no.
You only get 3 bans to start out.
Funny how everyone sees a game where a guy's got like 7-0, and they're like, yeah, you shouldn't have given him the champion.
I've watched like 5 games of LPL. He's really good on Kled. Like, no, it doesn't work that well. It's a really good second phase ban, and it's also not a super power pick here. We do see the Ryze and the Orianna removed, so Bjergsen will have to start digging a little bit deeper into that champion pool.
Syndra, no, of course, that's gone as well. So yeah, a lot of the popular picks for Bjergsen are off the table here. Final ban for TSM, and then it's WE to get first pick, followed by TSM finalizing their composition. Seeing what they ban as well as what W wants to pick early on is going to be interesting to note.
And I love this mid lane pinch, actually.
No ban.
Ooh, so they don't know.
It feels like it's got to be a mistake. Like, you ban another support. right? Like ban Nami, because you're clearly not going to play it, and they might, right? There's some obvious one-sided bans here, where you ban supports because Karma can flex. There's no reason not to ban anything.
TSM is much more likely to put their flex pick in bot, and Team.WE is much more likely to put that Karma in mid. That's why these mid lanes make so much sense. When you remove the top 5 strongest mid laners, Karma just goes up so much more in value. Also, if you play against Bjergsen, you can end up playing a Karma versus Lulu matchup. You're winning out thematically because he is the one consistent point on TSM.
And another flex. Another flex pick here. You still don't know what the W composition is. Karma mid or in the bot lane, Jace top or mid, you still don't know what's going to be.
Or support if you're Mata.
Well, the lane assignments you don't know, but you're very well aware of what the comp is. The comp is taking shape for them very clearly. They have all range champions currently and are very well equipped to go for the siege, go for the picks with the Ashe and the Elise.
Ooh, and they're going to go for Kennen over here in the top lane to go alongside the solo lane Talia in mid, so it is a pretty high-tempo team. You expect Kennen to have lane pressure most of the time against most of his matchups. Talia's supposed to get some shove pressure as well, and remember on the map. And the question is what they're going to roam into, though, is bot lane's not a ton of pressure.
So TSM are raising the tempo of their game here with the switch in their champion select. Talia, super interesting matchup as well. We'll get to see one of the... Never mind. You go ahead on the Nami there.
It's just the Jace lock-in is so likely to be top. That's why they match it with the Cannon, who lanes fairly well into it. This is a matchup we saw last Worlds as well, where Jace was seeing a resurgence. Cannon was a great pick into it. The problem is, I feel, for Team.WE is that Bjergsen has shown some proficiency in roaming with this Talia and can start influencing. He's very fragile side lanes.
Exactly, but again, with the Nami pick, it just reinforces the direction Team.WE were already going, right? Now they have sustain for their siege comp. This is totally geared towards, you know, knocking over the early turrets. That opens up more space for the Ashe arrows to come through, the Elise picks to come through. This is a full range composition, so it's all about focus fire and swapping targets.
You mentioned being full range, no tanks in the squad right now. Svenskeren can pinch hit later on, but it's going to take him some time. Condi the same, but they're going to be squishy for the early game.
So we're looking at thematically a very squishy siege comp. The usual answer is hard engage, but there's very little of that on the side of TSM. They really need to make use of kind of the walls and maybe at least in flank kick, but in terms of like the old school, like say like a Mumu engages, Dragon's Body Slam Flash, it's not quite there because this is going to be an 80 cannon. That ulti drops off pretty quickly in the late game.
It drops off in damage. To their credit, it will be a large stun, and maybe a Talia wall can block them off. Like, there are, like to your point, it is not easy.
Yeah.
TSM do technically have ways of cutting off the team or crowd controlling them, but it is difficult, which means on average, it is not a great engaged team. The tools are there, but they're weak tools. They're a bit old. They're from the Bronze Age, maybe something like this. And can TSM get into them? Maybe so. Of course, you look at the Gigabyte Marines comp, only 2 of them have really like hard ultimates. They've all got an R button, but it's only Mystic and Ben who have long durations.
And the hopes are dropping for TSM. One of their local casters just called them bronze. I mean, come on, freak.
I don't know if that's really what I meant by that.
Like, I heard TSM and bronze in the same sentence. I think that's a little savage. I think they have a possibility to fight their way out, but they'll need to show it with some skilled combos. Like, they can't just play a super easy composition here. Definitely complex game.
We'll upgrade it for you. TSM have 2.5 thousand gold in this game. They're moving up quickly. The challengers in this one, they're down 0-1. WE up 1-0 so far in the group stage, so now maybe they can carry for the North American LCS and the Mid-Season Invitational.
All right, checking the brush here first for TSM as they move in. Yes, I think there was a little bit of vision first, and the ping's already come out.
All right, Turtle taking a couple of arrows to the face. Backs off against Mystic, and then over the wall, going to get himself 8 gold.
I actually think Ezreal is a good pick, I feel, for Turtle. Much better than these kind of low mobility static 80 carries. The Twitch wasn't really working out, but let's not forget, he knows how to play 80 carry.
Coming back to the mid lane as well, and that Talia pick, I also think this is an intelligent pick from TSM because one of Talia's biggest strengths is the early shoving.
Yeah, playing as a champion that only wants to shove as well.
We'll see how the shoving goes in this one. Minions have spawned, they're walking into the lane, and looks like it will be the standard 2-on-2s in the bot side. Very rarely do we see lane swaps nowadays, but saw a couple in Europe. Look at this though, invade for WE, 3 of them coming forward, the entire bot lane plus Xia. Xia looking to stop out on these Raptors, and this could be successful. They get away 1, that'll slow them down at least a little bit.
They're leashing the big one for him. He can just fight that away right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of trade-off there. I mean, you take away one of the small ones, that means off the small ones, you're not just going to hit the level 2, and he's going to have to clean up the entire camp to hit his level 2. Meanwhile, though, focus on Condi, right? Because we talked a lot about, you know, how Condi wants to take either the Lee Sin or Elise with this, push in, go for some early moves. He has started on the top side of the map, on the red buff, rather than, you know, taking a lot of damage for Raptors.
Yeah, and I think we'll see him visit bot lane very early. There's a couple of things you can do with Elise. You can go level 3 and then Blast Cone, repel Blast Cone over the Dragon Wall and get behind enemy bot. Even just showing up in his bot lane will be needed because WE lost a lot of the push here because Turtle and Firefrost, they were in this lane zoning for early experience while they went for that Raptor invade.
But if Condi shows Lee Sin from Sven can steal away the jungle, he's on the top side already. Ben, wow, at 5 HP. That could have been Summoner Heal worthy. Stays alive, though.
Intelligent ward here moved from Bjergsen as well from the mid lane because, yes, bottom lane is an option with this Blast Cone. They've cut off the top side, so this is the only option, and TSM should be playing accordingly, but they're not.
3 versus 2. Here comes Condi. He's going to get flashed away. Biofrost gets out. Exhaust is on, though. The slows are there. Wild Turtle could be attacked. Repel's going to land into this one, and Wild Turtle's got no way out, escaping. And that's first blood coming through for Condi.
Yeah, and it almost seems too easy for Team WE. You have to expect the level 3 Elise gank when you play with such an early aggressive jungle. You have to be ready for it.
One of the first things that you do when you see a bottom lane pushing up, actually they might even go for more here. Biofrost, remember he used flash already.
Wow, that's actually in range of the Cocoon. Lands the stun, gets a bit of damage out. I don't think he's going to get the kill, but he does stop the recall for a bit longer.
One of the first things you do when you have a pushing bottom lane like that early on is move up, ward over the wall to blow up the Blast Cone, especially against early junglers like that.
Or at least you ward the brush, or you have to respect the possibility of the gank in one way. You know, some teams like walking up for Division on Grom, others want to get that Blast Cone down. It depends how much time you have. The thing is, TSM were just simply disrespecting the possibility of Condi being there against a jungler who is prone to ganking bot side. WE stylistically as a team plays so heavily towards the bottom side of the map.
Meanwhile, along with that team theme, you can see that ward there, top lane, getting more information, seeing Svenskeren as he tries to answer. Here's another look at it. And remember, the Elise repel goes off, and he instantly follows there with his own flash to secure the kill on Turtle.
And you still see the aggressive part of Exhaust in ganks is still there because it just slows people down and allows you to get there. In the 2v2 trades, Exhaust lost a lot of potential, but right now it's perfectly valid if your jungler shows up. Even when they flash, Exhaust is the more valuable summoner.
And Sven only took 1 camp away from Condi. He took Krugs exactly, didn't get onto the Raptors at all, so really not a lot punished there from the Condi roam to the bot side early game.
Yeah, what he does get is more continued vision, more intelligence for the team. So it really narrows down the possibilities of where Condi could be.
He has
for
to
the
be
future. Exactly, narrows them down, and they have to play accordingly though, because they've been doing this before.
They're picking the wave. They're waiting for the wave. They're being ultra patient. This is a very big play being set up here. Like they're waiting for a long time here. If this does not pay off for WE, they're losing so much momentum.
See, Mystic maybe wave clearing a bit harder than he should, though. It keeps him from pushing a bit faster, but here we go, looking for the attempt there. Biofrost juicing back and forth. Stun lands on Wild Turtle. Gets back in range. Nice bubble's going to land, and Ben gets the kill credit here. 2-0 in the bot lane for WE.
Almost a perfect save from Turtle. He took the Cocoon and then shifted, buffered the shift right there, but it just wasn't enough. Biofrost still falls.
These are the types of things why they were talking about how Condi, oh, never mind.
For the play, can they get Xie? A lot of damage here in this one. Going to go for the knockback. Not's going to land it. Xie just stays alive with an empowered root.
Yeah, it's the mantra W is so deceptive in terms of sustain, because while it's channels, it gives you something, but at the end, gives you bonus sustain as well here.
Yep.
Really strong against jungler ganks early on.
Yeah, Svenskeren, again, you know, after that move, he takes a little bit of a venture into WE's topside jungle, but aren't going to get a huge reward out of it. And then take a look again at the camp from Condi. They know all the summoners are down.
I really like the shift from Turtle. Like it's so good to protect your support, but Firefrost, he kind of juked himself into death right there, and it was a great hold from Condi. Holding Cocoon for a fraction of a second longer, guaranteeing that Firefrost either jukes or dies.
Twice. He juked twice to get away from Cocoon because it's such a fast skill shot. You have to do it on prediction. You can't reactively dodge Cocoon. It's just not really possible.
I can't. Maybe Faker can, but...
Okay, Faker can. He can't jump over walls, which are possible, by the way. I learned that thank you, Twitter. You can jump that wall, but either way, it is a nice set of ganks, and Condi has set bot lane up for success. Credit to Turtle, though. He's still up farm despite the death, so that's at least a positive. Yeah, this WE up 500 gold.
And here we see WE start pairing their jungle and the support for the invades.
that's definitely crucial for them in getting that vision. Speaking of farm, though, it is important to, especially when you are at least in your snowballing like this, keep your eyes on the camps with many minions in them, because if you're able to get a Raptor camp, you catch up on experience very quickly there. And because he's been ganking so much, you can see he's only level 4, so you have catch-up experience available if you go for one of those camps with a lot of monsters.
It's worth pointing out in catch-up gold as well, Svenskern's only 100 gold behind Condi, who got a 400 gold first blood and a 75 gold assist right there. So Sven has farmed back a lot of that gank advantage. Again, this game only 600 apart despite 1,000 gold worth of kills.
And in terms of stopping the bleeding combined factor, we see a Sheen rush from Turtle. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to you early. So in terms of power disparities, this game is very even still. It'll take another domino falling to really get that snowball effect going.
Still a close game. Again, W.E kind of known as the Elder Dragon team because they usually play for the late game. And right now at the Mid-Season Invitational, they've had good early games as well, which makes them a very threatening squad.
Yeah, it's also why they were kind of, for me, really hard to judge, because if you look at them, oh yeah, they made it here, they beat the finals, beat RNG, but they came back from 2 7,000 gold deficits, and you do that because one, you're great in the late game, but also two, because the other team was kind of helping you a little bit, and you still got behind 7,000 gold too. So they definitely have flaws in some of their plays.
Yeah, moves like this though, early games like this where they are using Condi in this way are some of the reasons why Condi got so much praise this year, and accolades and people talking about him being even the best jungler in the LPL.
He may very well be. Plenty of people say that about him. Hanser taking a rough trade. 957 do a nice job of forcing the ult out and then disengaging properly. Shea going to grab himself a blue buff to continue playing in this early game, but the gold is up to 1,000 up now. W.E playing better as we get into this 8th minute.
Yeah, and W.E really putting the onus on his vision control in the river here, and that's a really good setup. The next breaking point could also be Shea and Bjergsen. As they get higher levels, the waves are disappearing faster and faster and faster, leaving more time between those waves for these guys to disappear into Fog of War. They don't have to roam. It's all about the implication.
Exactly. The implication, well, yeah, also, it's all about the cooldowns, because the teleport,
Cooldowns is going to be Biofresh with his flashback available, gets away.
Teleport cooldown is a lot longer, obviously, than the ultimate there from Talia, so Bjergsen could make more moves. The only way you gain value out of that if you constantly are using your ultimate cooldown to actually gain ground.
Look at that War Kobe. Isn't that great against the Lee Sin?
And recall stop.
Yep.
And he times out and he's like, yep, there's a ward there.
There was a ward. At least you get the information.
Yeah.
You know he's not guessing. You know it was there. It's also something you can technically communicate from mid to jungle, and it's all these little details that make the games much more efficient.
There disappears another minion wave, though, as you guys are talking about, and now Bjergsen has the freedom. What's he going to do with it? A little bit of a feint top. Another one
he's
of
going
those
top,
wards.
though.
Well, Hanser's 20 seconds away, so it's going to be without the Slicing Maelstrom for this. Controller's going to see the Lee Sin, so it's going to take his time to clear that one away. Bjergsen attempted the roam and said, well, there was wards, we got stopped. I will go back into this one.
But now Shea has mid lane priority, and he can actually push up and potentially disappear into the bottom lane. One Mantra Q, one more Q, and he can start putting river pressure with Condi.
And it's bot side.
Constantly tilts, one guy will go stop, then the next guy gets the option to go bot, and you really have to cash in on the play, or else you will get counterplayed.
TSM looks to be abandoning in bot lane and going top.
This time Slicing Maelstrom is there. The flash kick, the follow is in. Slicing Maelstrom makes it happen, and Svenskeren gets the kill now. The bot lane pressure that was in.
Now the critical backswing of that play, as you're talking about, weak side of the map now for TSM is bottom side. They do back off this time.
One kills, 500 gold lead, and W.E gonna go for first turret gold. How fast will the wave die? Fast enough, actually. This might be just enough for TSM. No, they've got to wait the next wave as well. And it looks like W is gonna push faster. Wildcard does not have an ulti to stop this with. Maybe he can bait himself out. The rush is in, and it's actually going to be TSM a bit faster on the play. Nami had actually run back, and not enough damage was done by W.E, so well played to the TSM duo staying for the turret.
And when Condi was spending so much time camping in the bottom lane, Sven spent a large amount of time setting up that top lane dive as well. And when they knew Condi was around the bottom side of the map, it was so easy for TSM to capitalize right there, and they just fought their way back into the game.
Crucially, it was the repeat roam. The first one got control over that tri-brush ward. Then the repeat was when there was no wards left and got the kickback.
All right, we'll take another look here. Sven, he had previously cleared out all the vision in that tri-brush, heads through, doesn't hesitate, ward hop into the flash.
And we also see one of the weaknesses of 957, because as long as our spectator UI is correct here, his flash was up. And the second you see a Lee Sin come in your lane, you flash first, think later.
Yeah.
You don't need to know, is he going to get me with kick flash? No, he will
Yeah, he
Flashing there will always be worth the respect, and that actually has really big ramifications, because if you can slow down the push afterwards, that would be the first turret for WE.
Now they also have to remember about picking up the pieces after these traded sides. You have to assume that the enemy is going to leave behind a tremendous amount of vision in the side of the map that they just previously controlled. Bottom here for WE and top side for TSM.
Yep, lots of nice aggressive control wards and red wards there for WE. You can see them, in aggressive brushes that can watch the path in. Nice ward over the wall by Frost. Realizes that this is a dangerous location, but Mystic's carrying a control ward. Shout out to him for having vision.
Yeah, should split the map up in two. TSM can play top side, pressure the tier 2 turrets, steal away jungle camps, maybe get Bjergsen up there for a dive into top tier 2, whereas WE obviously have their eyes set on this Mountain Drake.
Notice also that because this is the weak side, because Turtle is going to have a low income for this one, he is not going for a tier build. He is just trying to build into the Triforce to have that baseline effect.
Seen a lot of different Ezreal builds. Some will go tier early, some go Rune in a Triforce, some Triforce first, and there's going to be Triforce first and almost definitely Rune in second. And we'll have to see what his mana pool looks like, but if he's the primary poke champion, he's going to be running out of mana a bit more rapidly. Poncer still with control over top side, 20 minion lead. Sven here to help to make sure that can happen. A lot of damage coming through right now.
Yeah, this is completely the expected behavior of this game. We see an arrow going completely cross-map. If it connects, it could change things up.
It looks like a delay arrow. They're not committing any other members, even if that did hit, anyways, though, exactly like you're saying, Krepo, those two sides, we expect them to trade. TSM, the objective on top side is another turret. It's in trade for that Mountain Drake, and the important thing is that neither of them are giving a lot of ground in the mid turret.
Yeah, the one thing, though, is Condi is falling behind in experience. Level 7 right now, even Sven's level 8. The enemy mid laners, generally, you can judge jungle XP by contrasting it to mid lane. He's 3 levels behind the mid lane, so it's the Cocoon has to stick. Otherwise, he's going to be very weak in these team fights.
See what they can get on this one as the ward's going to be going down. WE still playing for this bot side. This time there's no Drake to kill, so it's only the tier 2 turret. Not going to get it yet. Nice jump back for Sven, but here comes the TP, and look for the play. TSM not going to cut them off with the Weaver's Wall, though, and Hanser's TP means absolutely nothing.
Oh, that was very close to being very good play. If Bjergsen can channel his inner Moses, split it up off on his side, that would be fantastic, but he ends up just shutting out Hanser, who now loses the top lane push. He gives 957 breathing room to get back into the game, get the slow push, disappear, and then put pressure maybe somewhere else on the map.
Yeah, I mean, it's not complete devastation, as there is time for Hanser to get back up there. They're not going to lose any minion waves. And 957 did initially start a counter teleport, ended up canceling it, is going to be that lower cooldown, but exactly, the ideal play they're looking for is that perfect wall.
Yeah, it's when we talk about tempo, which is such a vague concept, it just means 957 gets the first push, the first base, the first option to go somewhere else, and TSM are forced to react.
And the micro lead that TSM did get out of that was the super early flash from Mystic on the Ashe, so no mobility really left from Mystic aside from a small speed boost from his heal, and that might be one of those small windows that you do look to punish in the next confrontation.
See if we can get out of this one right now. TSM, though, 1,000 gold lead because they didn't go for the Drake play, and Mountain is the worst early Drake to get. It doesn't do anything unless you're actually looking at a Baron or actually getting some turret pressure, so no incidental leads for WE just yet from that.
But if you're a late game team,
sure. If he goes 35 minutes, but you have to play the next 20 minutes in the first place. So if they lose a team fight because it could have been an Infernal, or if they're losing a laning phase because it could have been Ocean.
But it definitely fits the WE style,
Sure.
It's like ahead early, great. Not ahead, not the biggest worry, They're aiming for the late game here.
Can still win the LPL if we're not ahead early.
I'm glad that you had that whole discussion without making a very cringy Drake reference. Well done, both of you. I'm so proud of you two. Meanwhile, we are going to have a collapse on mid, as both teams have been really, really heavily favoring those two sides that they split at the very beginning. Yet, as we keep saying, the wave clear in mid is intensive, and neither of them are willing to give up any ground as far as the vision around that mid lane.
Again, WE, I've seen this exact clip 17 times now. Into the bottom jungle, putting aggressive control wards down, playing for this side of the map. WE is still looking for this as their bastion of power.
It's the foundation of making picks, removing vision out of the enemy jungle, hiding in the multitude of brushes. The possibility to be everywhere.
We'll see if Bjergsen can be everywhere he needs to be, looking for the bot lane on a Shie.
They have the option to continue to chase this or try and shove mid lane. I keep talking about the importance of this mid turret, and TSM do eventually make the call to cut off that chase and focus on the turret.
Great Weaver's Wall here from Bjergsen. That's how you use Talia too.
And he can't even satchel over. It blocks off that side of the plant. Now here comes the attempt. Not going to get it, though.
Seen that one before today as well. Not many arrows have been hitting.
Nope. Yeah, he didn't qualify for this one. It's TSM who went instead of P1, and so I'm not going to have that one here. Kobe is groaning. Krepo is smiling. Exactly the audience I expected here. And it's just another delayed game for now.
Meanwhile, that crucial, 5 seconds or whatever alone with the turret did take a bit of the toll. And if TSM does continue to make moves like that around mid lane collapsing, that is what really opens up this map, where we actually start to see a lot more of the hard commitments to these engages.
And that's what WE want to avoid on their side, because if they can get their Ashe and their Nami in the mid lane, put Karma on the side lane, they're playing a double TP comp. Yes, Bjergsen can move from one lane to the other with the wall, but it's still slower than a TP potentially switching it all the way to the top side. So eventually, WE will want their Karma on a side lane for Bjergsen to match, and then TP out of that lane.
Here we go, the attempt on Akandi, forcing the early flash out of him. That is an important cooldown gone. As far as Slicing Maelstrom's cooldown, it'll be up about the same time as a Drake. It'll be missed by about 30 seconds, but TSM delays will have the ulti back up, and Kondi will not be having flash for a while.
Meanwhile, there is a ward behind Mystic right now. Hanser still has a good 15 to 20 seconds left on this teleport, but that is a position where you don't think WE have been timing that teleport that exactly. And this Ashe still doesn't have flash from that last engage, so those are very slim margins for him to push up that far, but that's kind of how confident they are in their matchup with those AD carries.
Yeah, they play side lane to see everybody, but it's so easy, especially when the lanes get longer and the map gets switched up, to forget about some deep wards being placed somewhere. But then it's always also up to TSM to capitalize on that, pull the trigger. And a team that has been struggling both with expectations and performance may not be willing to just pull the trigger that fast. Ask maybe one more time, should we do it? And by that time, Mystic's out.
On the same side, can be bitten by the exact same double teleport ready here for WE, and an Ashe arrow that if it catches somebody, buys you plenty of time to complete those channels.
We'll see if Mikhails comes in ever. Biofrost will be the one to buy it, but you likely see Redemption come out first for it. See if they can play around the crowd control well. They're not looking for the play into the mid lane. Shie forced a flash, but the Rune King slow is there. Not going to get much more, though. Of course, Ben had the tidal wave if needed, but still, that's 2 flashes down now, both forced by Hanser.
Yeah, good angle on that flash. You're utilizing the wall, getting away here, but still the pressure from TSM. They move from top to mid, whereas right now, WE, they can just stall the Drake while 957 matches the push in top lane.
Yeah, he's pushing top lane, plus they just let Mystic shove down on the bottom side, so both side waves controlled here by WE, while TSM are choosing between that mid objective that they started earlier and then retreating back to the Drake. Whoever wins the next team fight has a lot of rewards that they could take off the map.
Let's see what they can do with this one. 400 gold difference. TSM certainly playing a much better game than they did in the previous. WE certainly not snowballing as much before, but again, we reiterate, they don't really care about the early game nearly as much. And we see the end game goes.
We see the flow of the game as well. You have control for a moment, but that means the other team is probably fixing their side lanes, and now you have to react if you're TSM. And remember, neither of these teams are really teamfight teams. They don't want to stand at this dragon and just have a massive brawl. It's all about creating picks, and that's why side lane pressure is so important. Removing a few members, forcing them into predictable paths can be the catalyst towards picks.
Exactly. That small minion wave that we talked about, Mystic pushing, 35 seconds earlier, Turtle goes down, he picks it up by hand. Now keep in mind, there are, slightly riskier tools that you can use, Ezreal Ultimate, to try and cut off the ranged minions and cut down the DPS on those, cross-map stuff that you can try and go for. But as you said, are they willing to pull this trigger? They have had a slow start.
Yeah, or you just up to lose farm. That is the whole reason why side lane push is so important. If you can then match the objective, well, they lose 2 waves to the turret. Great, and that's incremental values in ways of getting ahead. But right now we see TSM at least 800 gold up. They were behind earlier. They are definitely crawling back.
About looking to make the big plays is Kondi and Ben. Once again, get control of their own jungle. Not so much to do except kill a ward, but that's something to do. Not going to go for that play. Svenskar not going to follow through. This mid turret very, very low on health. 2 models will do it. There's the turret down, but Biofrost chunked out by 957.
Here they go. Misses on the cocoon. You could see how much they gained from just landing that sonic wave, though, because of the fact they forced Shie's flash earlier. He has to respect it. He backs off.
I'm going to do it. I got to walk back here. Can't defend it. And the range creeps were all in one hit as well, so somebody didn't buy enough AP to clear them out.
They're going to get it, though. 1,500 gold TSM. Actually with a solid lead for themselves. It's been a slow-paced game, but honestly, TSM can be happy with how this one has been going out. They were never that hyper-fast-paced of a team back in North America, even against somewhat weaker opponents, and they are grinding out solid leads. You had Sven out farming Kondi. The bot lane has done okay despite the early ganks, despite the fact that, you know, they're both best in the team so far. Hanser has remained this plus 17 minion lead, which is not too bad. He's been part of the turret pressure game as well, and hey, plus 2 turrets for TSM is a good place to be.
Yeah, and for me, TSM's identity seems to be get a pushing bot lane, self-sustaining, and then play around the top side of the map. But with Camille being nerfed, Hanser had a hard time finding a new carry. He now tries to go back to the Kennen here. But Kennen is an incredibly slow pick in the sense that it only wins by side lane pressure. And maybe you can bring it into the fights once you get Runons on 3rd and 4th. But it's not like AD Kennen in the bottom lane where you get Runon 2nd. You get this 4th. Yeah. And it takes a very long time for this pick to really have an impact on the map.
Mallet's second for him, looking for the dive. Hunter's 957 still has turret dagger though. Got to be a little bit careful in this one. Hanser a bit injured on this, and turret down a bit low, but they do force the flash at a 957 as the minion wave falls. A chase in for Bjergsen. One more hit will do it. Bjergsen gets the kill. Nice job of the TSM solo laners. Pick that one up and go for the turret afterwards.
They've also sent Turtle up topside to delay this push. This isn't really about fully stopping. It's a 1v3. He's just throwing out a little bit of poke to try and delay them, dissuade them, and get TSM a micro advantage.
Yeah, and he's just going to catch that wave and push it back if they leave right now. He's ready for the next phase in that play because the lead is and the tempo is already on TSM side. We need to know what happened to Xie's teleport. Because WE as a team, they seem confident that was going to land. That's why 957 stayed around. He was so confident they could turn that around, but Xie got cancelled. Maybe it was a polymorph.
Don't know exactly what it was, but either way, it wasn't good for him, and now TSM up in a decent way. An extra kill overall.
It's Lee Sin kick, yeah. Svensker went in, dash, flash, kick. Really good move by the jungle. That's the way you can still help the side lanes right there.
Exactly, does earn them pretty big momentum advantage. And TSM, as you know, pushed in very quickly for that extra turret.
Blue buff gonna go to Sven, doesn't want to wait for Bjergsen to grab it.
In the end, even though it is delayed, they are able to take the turret and chase TSM off of the mid lane, but such a big advantage. We're talking about the mid lane turrets for so long. You know, when there is this threat of the picks with the Elise and the Ashe arrow, so much more secure for TSM, and they can really build out their vision from that mid turret.
Yeah. These mid games are also super interesting to watch around Asher because extended Baron baits really hard because nobody can actually tank the Baron, so you can't make the play where you force them to come towards you because you just get annihilated, but you can burn it down real quick if you're not paying attention.
Exactly. There's so much damage flying around right here, especially range damage. You know, going to check these things, you can take a beating just by merely getting close to an objective. Shock blast, you know, volleys, these types of things.
But you can never really start the Baron if they're close and contested, so it's very binary. Either you go all in on the Asher and you flash out and reset, or you get caught and you die and you throw the game and you hand them the Baron over. So it's very quick shot calling that is needed.
And it's still very squishy teams. You mentioned how much threat is there from the poke. Sven's gonna look for the kick into the wall. Plenty of damage here. He's got every damage that he needs. It should be enough. And 957 goes down. Hunter still got aggro. He's gonna walk away cleanly enough. TSM finding these split off kills.
TSM is playing around their strength in Hanser like they did so many games in the season. And they're also exploiting one of the weaknesses of Team WE. 957 not rated that high. It's all about Condi, maybe Mystic, and then Xie. So 957 being exploited here.
He had one of the best games that we've seen in a while on the Kled earlier today, but he is being focused super heavily and rendered 0-3-0 in this game.
Feels bad, man. Have Hanser stepping up like we'd expected. This was so much of the community was mad that Hanser wasn't the MVP of North America. They're like, no, this guy deserved it. He played the best in NA. What a supreme top laner. And he didn't. And it was contentious. It was debatable because not everyone voted for him. Obviously, he didn't win the title. A lot of fans thought it should have been him.
I voted for him.
Okay, well, Kobe thought it as well. Apparently, he's the TSM homer for this one. But it's finally a game where he's actually playing somewhat to his level, where he's up against the #1 team from the LPL, winning his lane, being the lever by which TSM are winning the game.
But it also shows you, if a top laner needs to shine, like he's very rarely going to do it on his own. Like, how is he going to get those kills? Bjergsen needs to roam towards it. Svensker needs to help him. And then the other side of the coin, when top lane is getting help, bot lane needs to not feed. And that is really hard in the current metagame where it's so much easier to roam 4-man bot than to really exploit these roam stops.
Exactly. Even so much of this action is taking place in that side lane and they're collapsed on him. Svenskeren, remember these plays. He's the one helping collapse for these kills. He's the one who goes in to stop that teleport that earns them that extra push.
Yeah, it also makes you wonder why in an international tournament where TSM is suffering, especially around jungle, is Svenskeren playing Lee Sin. Ivern Lee Sin should be two hard bans against TSM.
play is most played. He's having a decent game of it so far, gotten his team 2 of the kills.
They know there's a hawk shot that came out, but there's a Weaver's Wall.
Buys a bit of time. TP is coming in from the Karma and probably from the Jace. Not yet, though. It's just Xie on the one side. 1,000 HP on the Baron. Can he get the snipe? And he's gonna. That's Baron in for TSM. Ensuing team fight is here. Sven, though. Hard CC, gonna be killed up, but not before he can take down 957. Actually, he gets away with it. Delivers his own escape path with the kick. Redemption not gonna find him. Somehow everything goes right for TSM.
That was actually insane. We talked about basically the firing range that Baron is in this matchup, and WE do collapse on that with the teleport, but able to just barely escape.
I think Bjergsen was the MVP of that fight. The way he controlled and forced WE to adapt their movement was just fantastic. Weaver's Wall and then putting the field down and really creating space for Sven to get out.
And it's one of the big strengths of Taliyah. And as soon as you see that wall go down, you get a Lancing and you're like, wow, they are actually going to just go for the burn there and try and run away. You expect there to be some casualties, but they even came out with a kill lead on that one, and that is a huge turning point.
It absolutely is. Now tank stats finally in for Svenskeren. He can be a bit more of a frontliner, but Treads Plus, now that Dead Man's plate is completed, we can watch this fight again.
I mean, they're all queuing up for the party here. Turtle eats the arrow, there's a wave coming in. But Bjergsen, look what he's about to do right now here. He just single-handedly turns that fight. Is that a 3-man knockback on WE? And then Sven, he's not supposed to live here.
Yeah.
He's like, get your body over there. I'm going to use your... Oh, never mind. He's dead.
And this time he's got a ward to jump to, still stays alive. Svenskeren, escape artist in this one.
Yeah, dodges the Grim Reaper twice here. Turtle has actually been setting up side lanes for TSM very well this game. So while he catches a lot of flack, a lot of their pressure is being moved from one lane into the other, and the guy that's always setting up these side lanes has been Turtle on the Israel. He also played around his early deficit by delaying the tier. Now he needs to dodge the skill shot, so that's still tough for him.
Arcane Shift and a bubble into the flash. Root's gonna come through. Mystic getting the kill credit on this.
2 out of 3. Just as I'm praising him, I'm like, hey Turtle, it's not all that bad. He eats an arrow and the push slows down.
Still a 5,000 gold difference right now. TSM still pushing and looking to stop. TV's not going to get that one yet. 957 will join to prevent Hanzo from getting much more, but the turret still goes down, stretching this lead now to almost 6,000. Chase still in for WE, looking for a target, but not going to find it. The duel with 957 and Hanzo, though, with the damage output coming through. Ruin King is there for the slow, but now Xie is in for the chase. Can he get the root? No, it's going to force the flash out of Hanzo. Get away with this one. Turret and a kill, though, picked up the other side.
Yeah, TSM still keeping up pressure, even with Turtle going down there, because of how powerful this attack damage Kennen is. With the auto attacks, they're able to get inside the base, even with 3 people collapsing. Bjergsen has his back, and they do escape.
Yeah, we really get a nice lesson in how this composition works. TSM, they want to fight on multiple lanes. When WE aggress, they want to just hold them there and play cross map. Hit the other side of the wall. That's why it's so unfortunate that the arrow actually killed Turtle. If you could disengage there, it was over for WE. They used their main engage. We saw how 957 was just melting against this Kennen in the 1v1.
Let's see what's going to happen next. 6,000 gold difference. WE hoping to fight back from the deficit. And this is about the time this team comes online. This looks like basic WE playoff games where they went off and took the title anyway. So this is where it starts to be the real test. Can TSM win against one of the great late game teams at this tournament? Right now looking okay, 7 turrets to 2.
One of the things though, when you talk about tendencies of teams, team composition plays such a huge part in it. And a lot of the comebacks for WE, I look at all these flank plays that they come from. They're holding on, playing defensively, and then they get this big flank. This is not a flanking team. This is a full range team. This is a DPS team.
And it's also the Karma build is quite peculiar here for Xie. It's not catered around buffing up Mystic. You usually see Karma Nami like, oh great, Mystic is going to get so much protection, but it's a Liandry's Luden's Karma that's not spiking on a 3rd Rabadon's. There's no Ardent Sensor in there to really buff up the Ashe. The Ashe is also not building to get the maximum benefit if there were an Ardent Sensor. So it's definitely all things to be considered here. It's not the typical protect the Ashe comp.
Absolutely not, but Mystic had been one of the big carries. It's not going to be the style this time around right now. Xie, of course, great poke power. Both Ludens and Liandry is good with that kind of play style. And if that poke can weather the storm and buy them the time till they get there, maybe it works out.
But poke from behind is not historically not that great, right? Now Svenskeren dodges a cocoon.
Yeah. A bit of traded damage though, Sven's going to stay alive enough. Bjergsen taking a bad trade against Xie. He's actually dueled pretty well, but Hanzo once again in the side of the map looking for a duel versus 957. Redemption comes down just in time, but he's still caught up by Weaver's Wall. The final shot comes through. It's a crit for Hanzo. Cocoon's not going to land either. Bjergsen's going to buy him the time to get away, and that's a solo kill. Nicely done through the Redemption. Well played.
Another extremely good wall from Bjergsen there to corral that extra kill for Hanser, and he's able to finish off just in time. Now they've got pressure on the open and hip.
Yeah, they can use their numbers advantage and just move in here. Hanser, he gets his free cage fight right there by Bjergsen, set up for success.
And here we go, on to the inhibitor it is. That's going to be dropping down. It's a 5v4. No chance for W to fight this one out. It's going to be the quick disengage. Bubble means nothing as well. And the game is going more and more TSM favorite. 7,000 gold up, and we know Hanser can solo kill his opponent.
Completely different take on the game this time around from TSM. They open up the tournament with a fully turtle-centric composition all around this AD carry, protection, bottom side, focus. They fail with that one, cross it off the list, and they completely flip the script.
They sweep the flitch all over, Kobe.
The switch has been flipped.
But you see it in the kills as well. Like, there's 5 kills on the board. All deaths belong to 957. Like, there's the bottom side of WE has been surviving for the majority of the time. It's just complete topside dominance from TSM, and their bot side has been surviving.
There's one important power spike still to wait for, and 1,000 gold Mystic finishes his Infinity Edge. If he can stay alive, he will output ridiculous amounts of damage, but I don't know if TSM is going to give him the 3 minutes it takes to get that gold before the game is decided by map control. See what it's going to be right now. Bjergsen kind of push away on the Condi, forcing the flash again. WE forced have lost so many defensive flashes. You're getting away from the aggression of TSM into the jungle. The threat of Hanser, the threat of Bjergsen, the threat of Svenskeren is constantly there and pushing WE away.
And the later this game goes, the easier it is for Svenskeren to play frontline and just soak up skill shots, soak up CC, because he knows it takes too long to burn through Svenskeren, and when you do, you're down too many cooldowns, while the DPS on TSM only increases. On Hanser, on Bjergsen, continuous damage output from these champions, Talia and Kennen. Very big.
You hear that? That's another wall from Bjergsen. Comes through, cuts off the easy objective for them, and they get almost, the entire turret.
Sounds like a bald eagle flying over the station.
I don't know why I did that.
Wait, was that you?
That was me.
Oh, it definitely was a bald eagle.
High five, that was amazing. All right, well, here we go. We've got a bigger wingspan on this one. Let's see if they can get the mid lane to go down, as the minion wave is pretty far away right now, but they'll wait for it. WE still have not found that opening. Mystic does have the arrow available. Not going to get the target just yet. Ocean Drake up in 15 seconds. Maybe that'll be the target. Ooh. Baron's up right now.
That would be a sexy 2-man Asher being started by TSM there. It's about the illusion of the push.
Yeah, they would want to switch Hanser in to tank the Baron, though, with the lifesteal, and take turns to have Bjergsen switch back out there, buy time for the rest of the team to get...
Sure, do they have the time, though? 4th with health right now, and look at that. They set it up properly. Going for the kickback, the repel to buy a bit of time.
Oh,
Condi could try. The son of Baron wants it, but there's no repel. He can't possibly
my God!
So it's going to be picked up. It's actually Hanser gets the last hit, but of course, keep in mind, Sven is dead. 5v4, Shie on the battle against Turtle. Exhaust is in. Mystic now to join the fray. Can he get the damage? Yes, they'll pick off Turtle. It's 2 kills picked up. To the fact that Baron was taken by TSM.
My goodness, your heart just starts beating when you see Svenskeren jump out of the pit to try and kick Condi. Then he's the one that ends up getting CC'd there.
But Condi had to repel to not get CC'd, and they knew Flash was down, so it was only the Jace who could steal.
Like, they know Condi is the son of Baron, so he likes stealing Nashers, but then he drops next to Svenskeren. Luckily, he does not have Flash.
Look at the shock blast that's headed in as well. Just so close to going away.
Oh, this is why WE somehow miraculously wins these late games. They need to make the decisive play, and they also need some help from their opponents, and both those ingredients were right there. The recipe for a throw was almost complete, but TSM, hang on.
At face value, a Baron is still worth more than 2 kills, but it gave WE a lot of time to catch up and farm.
Yeah, if you die in a heart
attack. As
far
as gold.
Yeah, but if you die in a heart attack, then you do taking the Nasher.
There's more into it, but the Infinity Edge is done. That was an important power spike that Mystic was able to complete. He did get kill credit on one of those pickoffs against Turtle.
Exactly. You know, the drawback of TSM completely flipping their style and going with the self-sufficient, fend for yourself bottom lane, we're focusing elsewhere, is when you get to the late game, all of this extra gold here for Mystic has accumulated in the 4-item crit build, large amount of DPS possible from this Ashe if he's able to stay alive.
Exactly. It's a 4-item Hurricane user with 2 supports versus Wild Turtle, who stopped by to get a QSS. He's at 3 items here, and just that damage output is not the same. Now, I would also say that Kennen arguably falls off a bit as well. I think he's still got a good CC, but you don't have that same quite bully pressure you used to have on that champion.
I think he is going to definitely output a lot more than 957 though on
That's
Jace,
true.
who has really been hurting.
Yeah, but it's still a Deathfire Touch Karma. It's not a Wind Speaker's Karma with the Ardent Sensor, so it's still the small caveat here. 1.5 supports. But
Yeah. Deathcap's up next. He's going to have damage.
yeah, definitely depends on how these fights play out. Honestly, if TSM can keep the map split, but obviously the later you go, the closer you get to the base, especially those inhibs, it's a much shorter path for W to travel. It's all in Weaver's Wall to split them up.
Let's see if Bjergsen can do it. We know he has good utility ultimates. His Rise is great. His Talia as well. And look at Hanzo being left alone. WE knows they can't deal with him. Looks like mid lane turret has fallen as well, and now onto the top side they go.
Yeah, perfect from DSM on 3 lanes, never committing to a fight. It's all about just balancing the pressure. When they contest, you step back, you take something more on the other side, no matter how long it takes.
And almost dead. It's a few shots away. Cannon still dealing damage, and Hanzo gets the mid inhibitor as well. More of this base is falling, and WE not fighting.
Hanzo moving back and forth between the minion waves to buff them up, each with the Baron buff, and continue this pressure.
Triple inhib down. Hanzo uses the ulti. He's still staying in range of Xie, which is a bit risky. Gonna stay alive though, with Redemption helping as well, and looks like TSM wanting to keep pushing with the Baron buff. It's on for a little bit longer.
And it's so important that the last wave goes down right now, because the amount of super creeps you get triples from 2 inhibs to 3.
Yep.
And now the Weaver's Wall comes out.
Goes from 2 to 6, and now the Weaver's Wall to go for top lane. Nexus turrets right now. Can they get away from Mystic? Can he get the damage? Turtle in the front lines, losing a little bit of HP. The pickback is there. They picked off the carry. The shields are there. He's not yet dead. We've seen it from Sven. It's a 1-for-1 though. Jungler for support. Mystic still alive. Healing on the fountain. The debilitation is going to make it a little bit slower, but he stays alive in this one. The flash, who not going to land on Bjergsen. Good flash to get away. 1-for-1.
This is massive for the game, because Mystic survives. His flash is at about 30 seconds cooldown, so they could hang on. They lose at least 2 minutes right now for TSM to get back to this base. Inhib spawn time 5 minutes, I believe, still. So it's such a big part of the game that he lives.
Exactly. Even if you hit that Q, as you said, TSM have all the cards right now. They have super minions flooding in. It's so risky to go for this. Large amount of damage does land, but they don't get him off. Big shields come in, Svenskeren gets locked down, and WE live another day.
I think that's where Turtle actually has to dash in aggressively.
Yeah.
Ironically, if his
needs
E
the
connects
E4
there
to
and he
get
goes
those
1-for-1, they win the game.
Yeah.
Or if they don't take the Q in the first place,
True.
and wait for all your minions to reinforce,
Yeah,
and they
just wait.
to stay around at the Nexus turrets.
As it stands though, TSM still in a huge lead right now. 8,000 gold up, and they've got triple inhibs down. WE cannot leave their base for pretty much anything at all. And even if they stay inside, you can still win the game with just 6 super minions.
Yeah, and even if Nashor spawns again, Hanzo's just going to solo kill the game. Like he can solo carry all inhibs down again. TSM can use Nashor as a bait right now. This is the best spot for WE, so they actually have to fight their way out here, because if they wait, it's only going to get worse.
8,000 gold deficit. This will get shrunk over time as the minions fall down, but look how much damage is going into these turrets right now. It's going to fall even with champions defending it. A block is used early on. They get the knockback on a Mystic. He stays alive though, but that is flashed down to the start, and one turret's already gone. Stunned, and Bjergsen gets away with the cleanse. He's going to be okay for now, but this turret's falling still very quickly. That's going to be it. Nothing left in the base but the Nexus, as TSM are cutting them back, and another wave of super minions is coming in right now. 6 super strong. Ben slowed down. Weaver's Wall cuts off Mystic, and it's all about knocking this one down. He cuts the wall down a little bit early. There's the kickback once again into that one. Here's Slicing Maelstrom. There's the damage. Over the kill's going to come through. That's 2 already. That's going to seal the game, and TSM actually get the win. They get the comeback. They improved to 1-1.
Yeah, fantastic cleanse by Bjergsen. Mikhail's on point from Firefrost, and they take it slow. They use the minions to their advantage. TSM even up the score for today's results.
That was a crucial win for TSM, especially after you saw their first game of the day dropping to Gigabyte Marines. And you say, okay, our TSM is the worst team in this tournament now. But WE, who had taken down and kind of showed themselves maybe the number 2 team here, maybe higher, TSM actually answering them back. We've got some parity now in the group stage. Anyone can clearly be anyone in this middle portion here. TSM with a necessary win.
Definitely bodes well for TSM, but you still have to wonder, how many styles can they pull off? Can they actually pull off any sort of bot-centric style? You know, stumbling in early on like they did does pose a lot of questions moving forward. Very strong performance here, though, with the solo lanes.
And if they can't do the bot-centric style, how many picks do they have for Hanzo to play carry top? Camille is gone. He whipped out the cannon, but Can he do it on a Kled? Can he do it on other picks? Have TSM practiced that enough? Because clearly they must have also been devoting a lot of their practice and scrim time to getting that bot-centric style developed, but it's not working so far.
And that's what they tried in the very first game of the tournament. Can we play Super Turtle? And that didn't seem to be the possibility there. But a smile on Hanser's face, 6-0-3 on the Kennen. Only missed out on 1 kill from his team so far. Lots of attack damage items, and it was good to see him kind of return to the form that his fans remembered of him.
But no smile on Turtle, and like from what I remember from Turtle, he's always smiling.
He is always smiling, but until the first 25 minutes of that game, the bot lane was 100% of the deaths for TSM. It was all Turtle and Biofrost getting attacked. Some of it they probably should have known better. Some of the wards could have been there to watch Condi's ganks. You could argue that things could have been done better, but they were the dead weight that the rest of the team was carrying.
Post, first blood, and post, that first gank that Condi was able to pull off on the bottom side, it did look like they were very well aware of their role in this in the bottom line, and the whole team was on the same page of, we are seeding this side of the map,
yeah,
and they played to the top side of the map for a good 15 minutes.
And there's no shame, because like,
exactly.
if you can win both sides of the map, well,
hey,
the game's
free.
over already,
Yeah.
So they definitely had to concede. They stepped away from the turret. There was Turtle in the side lane setting up the slow pushes. So it worked for TSM, but it's still, this strategy requires like an early gank to really trigger that advantage in the top lane, because otherwise it will just even out and Kennen can't get enough side lane pressure.
Yeah, but of course that did happen. Svenskeren got 2 very good ganks off himself. Multiple times it was a flash kick to set up for the rest of the team, and that did work out. And again, Hans was able to use that advantage very well. I've seen so many Kennen players will get the early lead. I win my lane, and then they can only farm. There's never any turret pressure, and that was not Hanser in this game.
Yeah, and the biggest thing to me, too, is that TSM looks so much more focused this time around. As I said, it looked like they came in with a much more clear game plan, and they actually were able to stick to it in the mid-game when it was still close.
Because that's why it's team effort. So often when we see these Kennens fail, is because when they stop pushing side lanes, their team starts team fighting all the time, and they join a team fight. They come in with the most beautiful flank, they pop hard, and then they realize I'm 80 Kennen and I do no damage whatsoever in a team fight. TSM kept the map open.
Yeah.
A lot of nice walls from
Really
Bjergsen,
nice.
and then a lot of just push and pull.
Yeah, it didn't show in the KDA, but there were several kills that he got just because he cut off the retreat passage. Jace can't get out. He's going to be alone there in the cage with the cannon. It's going to work out there. So, of course, TSM with a great win, but now we're going to head downstairs to Shox, where she's joined by TSM's top laner to get his thoughts